Have you ever stopped to think about what makes a relationship truly special? Just imagine if I told you that the knowledge of old might hold the key to solving all your intimate problems. Allow me to present today's film, in which we will delve into the topic of women's intimacy and uncover 5 hidden Stoic positions. I guarantee that by the film's conclusion, you will view relationships in a whole different light. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to the channel before we start, because this might be the beginning of a love story that changes your life forever. True Stoicism teaches us to be strong inside, to be fully present, and to comprehend other people, all of which are necessary for developing meaningful relationships. The term Stoicism conjures up images of emotional distancing, which is not the case. Imagine if you could enhance your personal connections and overcome life's challenges by applying these universal truths. First position, the power of active listening. Let me transport you to another era for just a moment. Whether it was a quiet evening at a cafe or a late-night phone chat, imagine yourself in a situation where you and a loved one were physically there. Are you still able to sense the calming quality of their voice? Do you remember how they fixed their gaze on you as if you were their only object of interest? Is it possible that they were just waiting to talk? Or were they actually listening to what you said? If you have ever felt the difference between being heard and being understood, you already know how profound this is. Envision this: you and your partner are recounting the events of the day. You bring a lot of life and enthusiasm when you discuss the little victories and defeats. However, instead of merely nodding or looking down at their phone, they lean in, make eye contact, and respond as though they have truly heard you. It's so much more than that. They're actually present and engaged with you at this very now. Do you see anything different? It boosts your confidence by being inviting, affirming, and encouraging. For a relationship to take root, it's not enough to simply be heard. You also need to feel understood and valued. Consider the opposite side of the coin for a moment. How often do we really shower our loved one with that gift when we're in a relationship? Be attentive to what others say, and listen to their words as if they were precious gems, writes Marcus Aurelius. And his idea is potent because true listening is rare, but builds an almost unbreakable link when it does occur. Think about it. Have you ever seen the look of anticipation in your partner's eyes as they wait for you to respond to a deeply personal story, like a dream they've had for a long time or a fond recollection from your childhood? Have you observed their intense desire for the feeling of being acknowledged? In trying times, being a Stoic is not the same as being emotionally aloof. On the flip side, it shows that you are completely absorbed in the here and now, not thinking about anything else. Listening to them without interrupting or making assumptions allows you to focus on their needs. I want you to picture this scene. Maybe it's from a love story you've read or written, and picture yourself in the middle of it. You can tell your partner is happy or tired just by listening to the tone of their voice while they tell you about their day, instead of thinking about what you're going to say or how you're going to feel tomorrow. You ground yourself in the here and now. The pitch of their voice changes when they talk about a tough moment, so you can tell if they're smiling or sobbing. Whenever you respond with intelligence and nod, they give you the expression that means, "I'm grateful you could be here with me." That is where the power of listening carefully lies. Your significant other will experience feelings of safety, worth, and appreciation as a result. Just hearing what someone has to say isn't enough. You must also observe essence. That is precisely what differentiates a satisfying relationship from a mediocre one. Your partner will gradually grow to depend on you, viewing you as a solid anchor in an otherwise turbulent world. If you persist in this, a blueprint for fundamentally altering your relationship, not merely advice. Additionally, it's normal to feel overwhelmed by thoughts of not being heard or missed opportunities to support others going through similar experiences. Today is the perfect day to start. The next time she opens up to you about her dreams, worries, or even a little story, remember to listen carefully as if it were the most important thing ever. It is, I assure you. Second position, the art of vulnerability. I have a question for you. When was the last time you opened your door to someone? Really let them in without guarding your feelings or attempting to conceal them? Identify the exact time you accomplished this. Maybe it was while taking a brisk evening stroll that you first felt comfortable, enough to discuss a significant anxiety you've been harboring. Maybe it was that one late night conversation when you two were completely relaxed and honest with each other, and your cares just faded away. Describe how it felt. Despite the fear it may inspire, showing another person your vulnerability is the greatest gift you can offer them. Being vulnerable could be misunderstood as a sign of weakness, due to societal pressures to be tough and emotionally guarded. Nevertheless, allow me to reveal an unexpected truth. When we are truly vulnerable, we are strongest. Making room for your spouse to do the same is all about saying, "This is who I am, flaws and all, and I trust you enough to see me this way." An unshakable bond is formed through your genuine connection. Now imagine your personal narrative. The next time you feel the need to confide in someone, think about the individual who made you feel comfortable enough to do so. Perhaps it was a compassionate ear that listened without criticism as you recounted your childhood, or a comforting hand that held you when you expressed your anxieties. Tell me about the last time you experienced unconditional kindness. I can only imagine how it felt when you could finally relax and be yourself, as if a weight had been lifted off your shoulders. Think back to when you were in a comparable circumstance before. Your significant other confides in you about a dark chapter in their history, whether it's a lost cause or an unfulfilled ambition. Unbeknownst to you, your reaction at that moment was crucial. Was your fear of saying the incorrect thing keeping you from leaning in with an open heart? When you let your guard down and speak your truth, you also provide room for another person to do the same. As the great Stoic Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Being a good partner or man in a relationship isn't about having all the answers, but rather about being honest, available, and present. Basically, it's about being vulnerable enough to let your partner see your flaws. Instead of viewing your anxieties as obstacles, try viewing them as opportunities to strengthen your bond with another person. Sincere closeness develops when one person displays such bravery, since it encourages the other to do the same. Picture this: you and your loved one are savoring a romantic evening maybe with the moonlight or candlelight as the sole sources of illumination. Say something out loud that you've never done before while taking a deep breath. Feeling anxious and briefly doubting your bravery, it's nerve-wracking. At that moment, though, you feel a calming sensation in their gaze and a hand reaching out to clasp yours. A deep connection replaces your dread at that same moment, transforming fear into trust and obstacles into bridges. That is the power of vulnerability. The hardest thing is letting someone in. So keep that in mind the next time you feel like you can't cope. Show them your magnificence. Express your aspirations, concerns, happiness, and sadness. Love plants roots deep enough to weather any storm at that moment. Third position, the power of genuine appreciation. Just for a second, try to put yourself in someone else's shoes and picture themselves seeing you with admiration and awe. Bring yourself back to that same time by closing your eyes. Maybe it was that time you effortlessly prepared your partner's favorite dish, or recalled that particular detail from a story you told a few weeks ago. Does it still make you feel anything? Feeling that wave of relief wash over you, that smile that won't stop? Sincere appreciation has that kind of influence. Very well, I think we should turn around now. After what seems like an eternity, did you finally manage to transfer someone? Authentic, sincere appreciation, not the impersonal "you're amazing" or "thank you" is what matters most. It is easy to let our loved ones know how we really feel when we are caught up in the rush of daily life. Smiling thanks, though, is like a book that never gets opened. It's full of promise, but nobody ever gets to see or hear it. Imagine coming home to see your partner weary from a hard day. Quietly, they place their bag on the ground and let out a sigh. You may take a moment out of your night to change the trajectory of their entire day, rather than continuing on as usual. I want you to know that I see how hard you're working. You remark, striding over to them and making eye contact. You can tell how much this means to them by the look of gratitude on their face, the loosening of their shoulders, and the little relief from that invisible weight. Embrace the gift of life, contemplate its wonders, savor its pleasures, and love with open arms. As Marcus Aurelius admonished his followers upon waking, this gratitude should go out to your partner in a partnership as well. We have a tendency to focus on what we want, what we don't have, and what we want other people would alter. Still, how frequently do you pause to marvel at the splendor all around you? Now is the time to express your heartfelt appreciation. This is your chance to let them know that their presence, efforts, quirks, and genuine admiration have been recognized. Daydream about the love story that is your own life. Have you ever been blown away by your lover's seemingly little actions? Maybe they shared a restless night with you, surprised you with your favorite snack, or even remembered a passing remark you made. Making an effort to recognize these moments shows your spouse how much you value them. Even when it's easy to let them go undetected, there needs to be someone like you. Locate any aspect of your partner's performance that you could have overlooked during the initial performance. For tonight, it is the task at hand. It might be their knack for remembering to charge your phone before you leave for work, or their ability to laugh at your jokes. Regardless of how ridiculous they are, verify that they are aware. It need not be grand or poetic. What matters is that it be authentic. You will gain a deeper appreciation for the impact of little acts of kindness after witnessing the delight on their face. It should be remembered that there are more understated methods of expressing gratitude. It's the quiet declaration of appreciation for life's little pleasures, the kind of speech that has significance. Under perfect conditions, as well as in the middle of a hurricane, at moments of mutual appreciation, love goes from being an emotion to becoming the substance that nourishes and maintains a relationship. Fourth position, embracing patience and understanding. Is there anything worse than when someone you care about doesn't understand what you're saying? Imagine coming home from a long day of tension and longing for some peace and quiet. In fact, things became more convoluted and perhaps even heated. Think of it this way. Have you ever experienced the polar opposite? When you were confused about why your partner was having a terrible day? Did you ever make a rash decision because you were angry? These insignificant events occur frequently in relationships and have the power to build or weaken the bond as time goes on. Patience and understanding, however difficult at times, are powerful tools. In the midst of powerful emotions and the usual unpredictable obstacles that life throws at us, it can feel like these values are the hardest to uphold. Having said that, they also serve as the glue that holds a partnership together. You have power over your mind, not outside events, Marcus Aurelius once said. Your inner strength will become apparent once you reach this knowledge. Being able to keep your cool and put an emphasis on understanding rather than anger is a manifestation of this strength in relationships. Just picture your partner's anxious, unresponsive face when they get home. At the same time, it's easy to feel hurt or rejected, experiencing racing thoughts, uncertainty about whether you made a mistake, or the want to turn back may be common. What if, on the other hand, you pause to consider? Try to put yourself in their shoes for a second, and see yourself choosing to be patient and understanding rather than reacting emotionally so that they can find a safe space where they can feel valued and respected. Think back on an instance when you were patient with someone. Maybe it was a time when you weren't being yourself because you were dealing with stress at work or anything else. How did they show they understood? Did they look away to calm your nerves, tap you on the shoulder, or something else entirely? Think of the next step as giving that gift to someone else. This act of compassion goes beyond being random. It is a loving gesture that deepens your friendship. A tale that some old friends of mine told me has stayed with me ever since. One night, the partner came home, visibly upset and emotionally distant. Rather than becoming an irritation or asking him a million questions, his wife sat peacefully by his side, offering companionship. After weeks of suppressing his frustration, he spoke out about an issue at work. He told me afterwards that her willingness to listen that night was more important to him than any advice or words of encouragement he could have given her. Always keep in mind that patience is not a passive quality. This is not to say that problems should be neglected or left unattended. Discover what works for your partner so they can open up about their challenges. Showing patience is a decision that says, I'm here, and I care more about understanding you than reacting in the moment. It opens the door to conversations where both parties can feel heard, where problems can be discussed, and where solutions can be brainstormed. Hopefully, this will make you think about the strength of the connection in your own relationships. Your choice to remain calm instead of furious is something I can't recall. Can you remember the last time you received a similar gift? Love has the power to transform from an emotion into a choice. An action and a promise, and even the tiniest of these moments can do just that. When your patience starts to wear thin, take a deep breath, pause, and know that this is an opportunity to show love in its most authentic and powerful form. Manifestations of love aren't what make a couple special. The foundation of a lasting relationship is built in these small moments. When you choose understanding over assumptions and empathy over emotions. Fifth position, the power of shared vulnerability. Have you ever experienced the transformative power of shared vulnerability? When you confided in a loved one about something troubling you, such a traumatic event from your past or a nightmarish phobia, and that person listened carefully without offering any criticism or advice? If you've ever experienced something similar, you understand the feeling I'm describing. A weight is taken off your shoulders, and the two of you feel closer and lighter. At some point in any committed relationship, one must let their guard down and allow themselves to be seen exactly as they are, warts and all. The truth is, though, that it isn't always simple. We learn to put up brave fronts and be vigilant from the outside world, and that guard might remain even while we're with the people we love the most. However, what if I suggested that your relationship could undergo a transformation if you were to relax your guard? How did you feel, if anything, when your partner confided in you about a hidden aspect of their life, a secret from their youth, an insecurity they'd rather not face, whether it was a shock, hurt, or a revelation? The reason your partner can see into your life like no one else is because vulnerability is so genuine and unfiltered. A nearly unbreakable bond is formed when one partner responds with love and understanding. Imagine this: after a long day, you and your partner are both exhausted, and your partner appears to be having trouble with something, saying something like, "Hey, I can tell something's weighing on you. Want to talk about it?" Creates an opening for them to confide in you and share whatever is troubling them. Maybe they measure the response by starting small, They open up about a worry, an embarrassing incident, or something they're frightened to mess up. And you listen not merely to reply, but to understand. In that instant, you're no longer partners. You're a team confronting the world side by side. A friend of mine once told me the story of how a profound act of vulnerability changed the trajectory of her relationship. Their hectic schedules had been preventing them from spending quality time together, but she finally broke down to her partner one evening about her nervousness and her crippling self-doubt. In his response, he spoke up about his own struggles with feeling pressured to be strong for both of them, even when he lacked complete understanding. They felt lighter, closer, and supported at the night's end. A more profound love founded on reality rather than ideal was born at this moment. It takes courage to let one's guard down and be vulnerable. Think about your own love story and the possibilities that arise from being more vulnerable and truthful. Even when it's frightening, it's like saying, "This is me with all my mess and all my magic." Also, try to picture how different things would be if your partner felt secure enough to reciprocate. If you're feeling bold the next time you're with your spouse, try opening up about something small, a hope, a fear, or a meaningful story, and noticing how their expression changes and the distance between you reduces. In that second, you're doing more than just conversing. You're establishing trust, one heartbeat at a time. Love blooms not simply in the joyful times of sharing delight and laughing, but also in the vulnerable moments of revealing yourself and putting your faith in another person. In these times, genuine bonding takes place, and love endures life's ups and downs because of it. Conclusion: ancient knowledge is wonderful because it can surprise us and help us in ways we don't expect. Here, these 5 Stoic positions might not be the first things that come to mind when you consider close relationships. When you listen attentively, let your guard down, appreciate silence, express gratitude, and support each other's development, you can forge an unshakable friendship. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you here again soon.